Hello again. I think it's highly appropriate that for this week's subject, I have had to record this probably 12, 13 times between camera issues, me getting too anxious, or other things just going wrong. I can't seem to get a good take. And so we'll go from there into this, and hopefully the recording will work this time. This week I'm going to be talking about public speaking. I'm going to talk about some difficulties that people face, that I face, and some things that you can work on to help you get through it and to improve at it. So with that, we'll get into this week's episode. So for this week, I am talking about public speaking. Public speaking is one of those things that I have gotten better at, but I still very much struggle with. It's something that has been difficult for me for a very long time. When I first started teaching, I had difficulty in my classroom. Like, I could barely hold it together through my classes, trying to communicate with people. It was hard. And I'd go back to my office and I'd have these mini breakdowns because talking in front of people scares me. It is difficult for me. Even now it's difficult, but I've gotten better at it. Now I can stand in front of my classes, 7.5 years later, and I can speak efficiently and effectively. I'm able to communicate, I'm able to teach. I've even been able to speak at a lot of conferences, and I'm getting better at that. And I'm recording these videos, and honestly, these videos are harder than standing up in front of a public audience. The reason is because I'm not getting feedback from these videos. I don't have a live person here that I can talk to and kind of get some response to gauge how the conversation's going. And that scares me. And that fear is part of what makes this public speaking so difficult. Fear of other people. With me, a lot of it comes from that fear of being judged. The fear of what are people going to think about me if I say the wrong thing, or if I move the wrong way, or if I don't present the material exactly the way I've got it in my head. And that fear makes it very, very difficult. It also leads to that after portion, like once you're done talking and you go into the kind of the post-mortem mode, but for me it's more of like a guilt mode, like, oh, well, I should have said this, I should have said this, and it becomes difficult. So here's a couple of tips to help you break out of that. If you struggle talking to other people, if you struggle with speaking in public, these are some things that have helped me over the years that I hope will actually be of benefit to you as well. The first is to change your environment. With me, there are different ways that I can talk to different people based on my level of comfort. With my wife, we can have conversations and we are so comfortable with each other. We've developed our own form of shorthand. Like, as we communicate, we don't need to go into extreme depth on everything we talk about. We have things that have just kind of come up naturally, like, oh, by the way, we need to do this today, and she knows what I'm talking about because of previous conversations or because of things we can relate it to. Or I'll do movie quotes. I don't know if you do that, but Monty Python comes up a lot. And just with the movie quote, my wife goes, I know exactly how you're feeling. Okay, and so because she's someone I'm close to, we can communicate very efficiently, effectively. I'm not nervous or scared after a conversation with my wife, unless I'm in trouble for something. But I'm generally not worried about how the conversation went. I don't replay it in my head over and over again. That still happens with me when I meet somebody for the first time and I worry about, well, did I say something offensive? Did I do something wrong? How do they feel about it? And I have that dialogue in my head. But like I said, with my wife, that's not the case. With other people, there are varying degrees of comfort. And so with public speaking, if you're able to change your environment a little bit, that helps. It'll help you relax, it'll help you calm down. For me, it's standing up and walking around. For more of those formal speeches that I have to do where I'm standing at a podium or something, being able to tell a joke or sing a song or do something else silly at the beginning helps break the ice. It helps me kind of connect with my audience. It also helps me go, okay, I've shown them that I am a normal person and that I can screw stuff up. And that's okay. And that helps me kind of get into that ability to speak a little bit more clearly. A lot of times there's still the anxiety there, but it helps with the process. And so if you're able to start speaking at least at a small level in places that you're comfortable, and then as you move up to larger audiences or more stressful situations to talk, if you can somehow change that environment, change and kind of control it as the speaker to make it more comfortable for you, that will help you to be a better public speaker. The second thing is practice, just sheer repetition. The more I talk to people and the more I practice, the easier it becomes. These videos are really hard for me, but the more I do it, I know the better I'm going to get at it. So a year from now, 2 years from now, if I can keep this up on a regular basis every week, regardless of how stressed I am or how hard it is, I'm going to get better at it. And so my videos 2 years from now are going to be much more fluent, I'm going to be much more fluent, efficient. I'm going to be able to communicate my ideas and hopefully be better at sharing messages, and hopefully more of my personality will come through. I struggle. Talking to a camera, it's hard for me to be lighthearted and fun, where if I've got a person there and we can start joking back and forth, it's much easier. So it's something that I need to keep practicing. So that leads into the third thing. By the way, before I jump to the third thing, a quick tangent, naughty words. As a speaker, I've had to start identifying what my naughty words are. In these videos, it has become and so. When I'm struggling with my brain not working because of my anxiety, I use filler words, and so, quite often. I was about to say so again, because it helps me transition. It's not a horrible thing, but if you're going to do more public speaking, it's something that you need to be aware of to try and reduce as much as possible. In that way, and was about to become another one. In that way, you're going to be able to better communicate, be more clear, and people won't be bothered by the filler words. In my writing, my naughty word is however, and so I have to actually go through and do a check and go page by page and go, okay, I need to remove these 56 howevers and maybe use one in a sentence. So be aware of those words. So that was just an aside. The third thing, and I have to check my notes because I'm even now as I'm talking, I'm forgetting. The third thing is that you need to know your subject matter. If you are more familiar with what you're talking about, like the more familiar you get with it, the better you're going to be at sharing that information. I know a lot about game development, and so it's easier for me to talk about game development than it is about other subject matter. In fact, in some cases when I'm talking about game development, when I'm talking about gardening, when I'm talking about raising kids, people sometimes have trouble getting me to stop because it just comes out. If you know what you're talking about, and if you've prepared, even if you know what you're talking about, sometimes you get so much anxiety trying to speak that it's hard to keep that cohesive. So if you know what you're talking about and you prepare, especially for the more formal speeches, then you're going to have a much easier time sharing that information. The main idea is that you're never going to be perfect at public speaking. Even the greatest public speakers I know have bad days. They have bad talks. They have times where they don't communicate as effectively as they could. What you're trying to do is just improve at it. If you can continue to practice, if you can continue to try, if you're prepared with what you're doing, you're going to progress. You're going to get better at it and better at it. And the more you do it, the more you're going to succeed at it. Once again, talking from a place of needing to know what you're talking about, the reason I'm giving this talk about public speaking is because it's something I have improved at. I've gotten so much better than I was, but I still struggle at it as well. And so I wanted to share a couple of these tips and encourage you, don't give up on it. Keep trying, keep growing. Hopefully these tips help. And if not, hopefully, as long as you keep working at it, you're going to improve. I wanted to talk very briefly about electric flow and the progress we're making. The production for electric flow has slowed down greatly. Both me and my programmer have started having other things that have come up. We're not stopping, and this is a temporary slow. For me, it's the Game Developer Expo that's coming up, as well as some additional schoolwork that I'm trying to deal with right now. And for my programmer, it's also some other work that they're doing. This is a part of the game development process. My studio is not set up to be full-time yet. It's a goal I'm working towards, but right now it's working as we're able to. We were hoping to have a new release out weeks ago, but we felt like it was important to make sure that we got this core system right, that we got the user experience right before we moved on with the rest of production. As part of that, we're also getting more limited on our time for the next little bit, and so it's pushed back the date. And so I apologize for those of you who have been expecting the update to come out, but I also want to let you know we are still making progress. It is something that every week we're taking the time to continue to work on, and we are making strides to get it released. The final thing I wanted to talk about is the upcoming Game Developer Expo. It's only a week and a half away now. So if you haven't had a chance to yet, please check out the website. It's the GDEX, or THEGDEX.com. We've got fantastic speakers coming from all over the industry, some big name speakers, and we've got a full roster of great talks and sessions that I encourage you to come and check out. In addition to that, we have a lot of wonderful vendors, and this is going to be bigger and better than it's been in any previous years. So once again, in a week and a half, if you're able to be in the Columbus, Ohio area, I strongly encourage you to swing by, pick up some tickets, and come to the expo. So anyway, until next week, take care.